firstly, on the platform, we're going to add a rigid body. We're going to remove gravity from it, and we're going to set it to kinematic. Also, we're going to give it a bit of mass, so if it does hit the player, it will push them. Perfect. And then we're going to make another C# script, and we're going to call this script platform sticker. Okay, so for our platform, we're going to need a few things. So we're going to need a reference to our player. So we're going to go game object player. Actually don't need a reference to the player. We just need a rigid body reference. We're going to go rigid. I'm going to call this player RB. And then on start, let's find this one by ourselves so we don't have to manually put the player in each time. So we're going to go, let's fix this so we don't have to mess with it. Player RB equals find object of type player controller dot game object dot get component rigid body. Okay, that was a bit of a mouthful. So we know our player's always going to have the player controller on them, and then we want to find, so we're finding the player controller, the game object of that, and then off the game object, we're going to grab the player's rigid body. This is pretty expensive what we've done here, but we're only running it a single time, but we're going to do it per platform we do in the game. So if you really wanted to optimize, you would make this serializable, and you would just have this as a null check. So if it equals null, so that's a catch. So if you forget to put it on, it's not going to error out, but if you manually put it on, it's going to be a lot more fluent. So now we have access to the player's rigid body. We actually do need the player as well, so this was a mistake. Let's do the same. Let's go serialize field, game object, player. Okay, sorry. Let's go player, and then let's get rid of this end bit. Okay. And then let's go players RB. Okay, so this is just as expensive as before, but we've added two components for the price of one because we have a reference to the player and the player's rigid body. So we're checking if the player is null, so we haven't assigned it manually. Then we're going to check for it, and then if this should be equals null. If the rigid body is null, then we're going to set the rigid body value. Okay, so now we have the variables we need. Let's start writing some of our collision stuff. So let's go on collision enter. If collision dot game object dot compare tag is player, another bracket, then player dot set player dot transform dot set parent to transform. So that's a bit confusing. I don't know why it doesn't like this, why it's highlighted that like that. So what we're doing is we're checking if what collided with the platform's tag is player, and if the tag is equal to player, I don't know why it's upset because the player tag is like that. But if the player tag is on the object that collides with it, it's going to grab our player object because we've assigned it. It's going to find its transform and it's going to set its parents to the transform of this object. So it's going to set the platform to be the parent of the player. So what that means is when a parent object moves, its child's objects are all moved with them. So just to make it see, so for instance, see this moving platform object, the empty object, the platform and left and right are children of it. So if I move moving platform, see the platform itself and the left and the right all come with it. So this also applies in live actions. So that's what we're doing. We're setting the platform, well, the object that holds that script to be the player's parent. So when it moves, the player moves with them. So we also need to unset it as well. So let's grab some more. And then, so we're going to go public void on collision exit. And then we're going to do this. Let's fix that up. We're going to go player dot transform dot set parent equal to null. Okay, so when the player leaves, they're going to no longer have a parent. So let's have a look at that in action. So we're going to attach this script to our platform. So where is it? Platform sticker. Alright, so let's not assign these variables so you can see for yourself that they assign themselves. That means they're all working correctly. Great. And now when we jump on the platform, we now come with it. But now you'll notice there's a little bit of a problem. When you jump, you don't hold the momentum of the platform. So that's why we needed that rigid body. So let's fix that up as well. So also going to need a few more. So let's bring this up. Alright, so we're going to need vector free. I'm going to call this last platform position. I have a vector free platform velocity. Alright, and then in our update, also in start, we're going to do last platform position equals transform dot position. So we're going to set that so that when we do this calculation, we have a variable always here because start will run before the first update. Platform dot velocity equals transform dot position minus last. Okay, so our velocity is being calculated at our current position minus our old position divided by the amount of time in between the two times this has been called. This is a bit complicated and hard to explain how this works or even understand, but that's how you calculate a velocity of an object on itself. And then we're going to reset our last position to equal transform dot position so that it keeps calculating from the last position. Okay, and then we're going to go if player RB does not equal null. Probably don't need to do a null check here, but it's good practice. Because if our player is null, we have bigger problems than the error it's going to throw. Player RB dot game object. Oh no, let's go dot velocity is plus equals new vector 3. Then we're going to put in dot x, 0 platform velocity dot z. Okay, so now we're setting the velocities of the player's rigid body on its x and z axis, which is its left and right and its forward and backwards, because we don't need to set its up and down. Now, I'm just going to skip straight to this because it's quick and easy. So when the player lands, he's going to get a little bit boosted because it would add the velocity again as he hits the platform. So we're going to just zero him out when he lands. This causes some problems if you want to whack your player and push him around because he won't slide across the ground anymore. But we're going to put it in our ground check. So we're going to add, so we have a reference to our controller already. So we're going to add actually let's just do this manually because there's only one ground check. Go serialize field, players, rigid body. I'm just going to call this player RB. And then when we're setting our grounded to true, we're going to set player RB dot velocity to equal vector 3 dot 0. So we're setting its velocity to nothing. Player RB dot angular velocity to also equal vector 3 dot 0. So if for some reason the player gets pushed or starts to spin unpredictably, him hitting the ground again will stop that behavior. But it does mean that you can't push your player very easily, because if you push them and they come off the ground and then land on the ground again, they're going to get zeroed out for their momentum. But let's go in and look at this. All right. Alright, this is working okay. So when we jump, we come with the platform. Oh, no, we didn't. What did we do wrong? We didn't assign our variables. So ground trigger needs reference to the player. So that's the problem with putting them in manually. Sometimes you forget to do them. Having it coded in is very convenient. Alright, when we jump. That didn't seem quite right, but maybe because it was changing directions. Something's not quite right here. Back to platform studio. Did we save this? Did it compile? It didn't compile. Okay. The ground check did, but not the, that's funny. Okay, that's working now. Okay, so when you change a script, make sure you save it afterwards so that it compiles properly into your project. Otherwise, your code won't function as intended. So at the moment, we move around just fine. There's one more problem, that if I get hit by the side, oh, I'm stuck now. I'm stuck to the side of that. I can force myself away, but you don't really want, if your player, to miss the platform, for them to be dragged back and forward by the side of the platform. So we need a solution to this, and it's pretty simple, the solution. So we're going to get the platform, we're going to create empty, we're going to add component box collider to the empty. Let's look at our scene, let's get a bit closer. Then going to edit the collider. So this collider is roughly the size of our box. So firstly, let's actually, before we edit the collider, let's get this and let's move it up slightly. Perfect. Maybe not that far, just up that much. Let's edit the collider. So we're going to bring the bottom up so it's level with the top of the platform. So it's really hard to see this green line. Let's make the platform just a different color for 1 second. Let's make it like red. Okay, that makes it heaps easier to see. Okay, so let's click on this. So it's just above it, only a tiny bit. And then let's just move it in just the tiniest bit on all the edges. So this always happens. Okay, object. Just the tiniest bit in. So now the player really needs to be on top of the platform, and if he gets right on the edge, he should just get scooped by the platform. If the platform's moving the opposite way to him, he's going to miss it now if he lands directly on the edge, but you probably didn't want the player to make it if they landed that close to the edge where most of them's hanging over anyway. Okay, so now we're going to call this trigger zone. We're going to set it to isTrigger. We're going to get this platform sticker and we're going to move it to trigger zone. It doesn't have those set. And then lastly, we're going to go into platform sticker, and instead of these being on collision enter, and they're going to be trigger. Trigger. Why can't I do this? What's on trigger enter? I don't understand why it's different there. Oh well, copy and paste. Let's call this. We need to change our collision as well to the variable. Let's do it properly. Let's go col. Change it to col. Okay, and then go on trigger. Don't know why, but sometimes when you manually put in the whole name of Unity methods, it's a bit weird. I don't know if I just typo a lot of the time. So we're missing a check here. So let's call this col as well. We should also have if col dot game object dot pair tag. Player. No, I didn't put the bracket first. Player. I don't know what happened here. Oh, that's missing that. And then let's put our brackets in. So one here. And then the other one. What happened there? The other one here and delete that one. Okay, so it made it messy. So if you comment and then uncomment your code, it lines up your brackets real nice for you. Because they sometimes get a little bit messy. Okay, so in the exit, we're checking that it's our player that left the trigger exit, because if some other random object left it before, it would have removed our parent, which wouldn't have been the worst, but it would have added this velocity to the player. Would have been a bit weird. You threw something at a platform and your player pushed. But that should all be working now. So let's give it a test. Okay. So now when the platform hits me, it pushes me still, but it doesn't drag. Oh, I still got hit by it. No, I did. Okay, hold up. Player is not defined. Okay. Okay. Let's see a problem here. Where is our ground check? Ground check. Should be a lowercase l. We do have a. Do we not have a tag? We have a player tag. That was really weird. Alright. Tag player is not defined. Okay. What is causing this error? Oh, here. This is where we typoed. It should be a lowercase l. That's funny. I'm entering and exiting it from it pushing me. Let's wait for it to hit us. So when we hit the side, see, yeah, it's just pushing us away now. Okay. But if we land on the top, perfect, moved with it, and then we jump, perfect, follow it, but if I jump and end up off it, I'm not dragged anymore. Okay, everything's working the way we want it to. It's a bit of a longer one. As usual, not everything goes the way you want it to the first time with Unity. It always seems to be the way. But once you do a little bit of thinking about it, you usually can line it all back up and get it to work how it's intended. Alright. See you in the next video.